Growth begins quietly under the dirt. It does not announce itself to the world or demand that people pay attention. It simply works in a steady and silent way until one day it emerges tall and strong for everyone to see. Yet so many of us feel like we must tell the whole world what we are doing. We feel the need to say what we are planning and exactly how we are going to reach our goals. Why is that? Maybe it is because we have a need for recognition or we want people to approve of us. Maybe it is just the excitement of saying that we are finally on our way. But there is a real problem here. The more you talk about your plans, the less energy you actually have to get them done. It is a strange situation, but sharing too much can actually drain the very momentum you need to succeed. In my years of working on business and personal growth, I have seen this happen over and over again. I have seen people with huge ideas and noble goals, ideas that could truly change their lives, talk themselves out of the very thing they set out to do. They do this by telling too many people much too soon. They show their dreams to the cold winds of doubt, criticism, and things that distract them. Before they even realize it, the fire they once felt has burned out. So today, I want to share the idea of keeping your plans close to your chest. This is not about being a secretive person. It is about being a wise person. We will look at how to build a mindset that values doing the work over talking about it, focusing on the task rather than the show, and wanting results more than praise. At the end of the day, it is not what you say you will do that matters. It is what you actually get done. Keeping your plans to yourself is very powerful. There is a quiet relationship between what you want to do and the action you take. Think about it. Every time you share your goals or your dreams with others, you are letting out a little bit of that inner energy. You are giving away a part of the fire that helps you take action. In many cases, that fire is much better if you keep it inside. It should be used in the quiet of your own mind rather than being shown to the world too early. One reason for this is simple. When you tell people what you are going to do, you create a fake feeling of progress. You tell people you are starting a new business or that you are going to lose weight, and the people around you smile and nod. Maybe they even clap and encourage you. That feels good, doesn't it? You get that sense of approval, but that is where the danger is. Your mind can mistake that praise for an actual achievement. You have not actually done anything yet, but you have already tasted a little bit of the reward. What happens next is that the drive to act starts to go away. The fire gets cool. The dream that once felt so real and full of life starts to feel like something you have already done in your mind. So, you settle into a comfortable state, and the real, difficult work that makes a dream come true gets put off. This is how dreams die before they even get a chance to grow. Now, some people might ask if it is good to share plans so people can hold you responsible. Being held responsible has its place, but only with the right people at the right time. Not everyone who hears your plans will understand them. Some will doubt why you are doing it, or if you are even capable. They might not say it out loud, but their doubt will hang in the air like a shadow over your goals. If you are not careful, that shadow can get into your own head. Suddenly, you are doubting yourself and wondering if they are right or if your idea isn't as good as you thought. I am not saying you should never share your ideas. That is not the point. The point is to share them very carefully and only when the time is right. You need to protect your vision in the beginning, like a gardener protecting a young plant from the frost. Share your plans only with people who will help them grow, not people who will step on them. Find mentors or very close friends who truly want to see you win. But even with them, keep the small details to a minimum. Do not let your ideas become a show before they have had a chance to become real. Also, think about the power of surprise. There is a special strength in doing something unexpected and letting your results speak for themselves. Imagine working quietly on a project for months or even years. You haven't said a word to anyone outside your small circle. Then one day, you show it to the world, a finished goal and a great achievement. The impact is much bigger than if you had been talking about it the whole time or giving people previews along the way. People will be amazed because it seemed to come out of nowhere. It is a reminder that doing something is always more impressive than saying something. Years ago, I knew a young man who wanted to start his own business. He was full of energy and could not wait to tell everyone. At every chance, he would talk about his plans and how successful he was going to be. People listened, but as time went on, they started to doubt him. Why? Because months passed and nothing happened. The more he talked, the less people believed him, and eventually he stopped believing in himself. Contrast that with a farmer I knew from the Midwest. He wanted to turn his small farm into a big business. Instead of talking, he just went to work. He read books, studied, and tried new things quietly. He did not announce his plans. He let his results do the talking. When it was time to sell his crops, everyone was shocked by the quality and amount he had produced. When they asked how he did it, he just smiled and said he worked when no one was watching. The lesson is that the less you talk, the more energy you have to act. The less you look for praise, the more confidence you build inside. When you do not share your plans too early, you have more control over your own life. It is about strategy, not secrecy. It is about knowing your dreams are worth protecting and that your actions will always be louder than your words. How many times have you shared a goal only to feel your motivation disappear? How many times have you let someone else's opinion change your path? These questions show how much power we give away when we speak too soon, but you can take that power back. You can choose to focus on action and let your success speak for you. The world is full of noise, opinions, and advice you didn't ask for. When you share dreams too freely, you invite that noise in. You open the door to doubt and even jealousy. These things can ruin even the best plans. Often, when you tell someone a big idea, they don't respond with total support. They might say it sounds risky or mention someone else who failed at it. These comments might seem small, but they plant seeds of doubt. And then there are the people who are jealous and don't want to see you move ahead because it reminds them of what they haven't done. Even well-meaning people can confuse you with too many suggestions. All of this noise pulls you away from your vision, leaving you feeling scattered. That is why being careful with your words is so powerful. You are creating a safe space for your ideas to grow, free from the interference of others. It is like building a greenhouse for your dreams. Momentum is a very important thing. It is the forward motion you get when you take consistent action. Momentum loves silence. When you are focused on doing the work rather than talking about it, you build a rhythm. Every step helps the next one. But when you talk about your plans too early, you break that rhythm. You stop moving and start explaining. Every moment you spend explaining is a moment you are not moving forward. It is like stopping a car constantly to show people where you are going. I had a friend who wrote a book. He didn't tell anyone. He just wrote a little bit every day in silence. When he finally shared the finished book, people were amazed at what he had done without seeking attention. Another friend spent months talking about a book he wanted to write, sharing outlines and asking for opinions. The more he talked, the less he actually wrote, and the project eventually failed because he used all his energy seeking approval instead of building momentum. Action creates confidence, while talking too much creates hesitation. When you take small steps, you prove to yourself that you can do it. Some people worry that being private makes them seem unfriendly, but it is really just about keeping your focus. You don't invite everyone to walk on your garden soil before the seeds have sprouted. You protect the ground and wait for the first signs of growth. By keeping things private, you give yourself the room to grow and adapt without the pressure of what other people expect. Success is rarely a straight line. It is a journey of trying and failing. When you are private, you can fail quietly, learn, and move on without everyone watching. You become more connected to your own gut feelings and you start to trust yourself more. Feedback is good, but it must come at the right time from people you respect. I worked with a man who was great at seeing opportunities, but he talked so much that others would often act on his ideas before he could. Another man I knew was very quiet and just focused on execution. While others talked, he built. When he finally showed his work, it was always impressive and ready for the world. He didn't need to say anything because the results were clear. This brings us to the principle that results are your best advertisement. When you achieve something, people will notice. Your actions create a ripple effect that touches people more than words ever could. Also, keeping plans private protects your focus. People will always ask questions or give suggestions that pull you in different directions. Focus is your most precious resource, and the best way to protect it is to limit who knows what you are doing. Imagine working on a project and telling no one. Imagine the progress you could make in that silence. This is about being intentional with your life. It is about knowing that your focus is too valuable to waste on idle talk. When you finally reveal what you have done, it will have a weight and a substance that words do not have. Keeping plans private is about protecting the fragile start of a dream until it is strong enough to stand. When you choose to be quiet, you are telling yourself that you do not need a crowd to get started. You don't need permission to chase your goals. That confidence is powerful. It lets you learn from mistakes and grow at your own pace. When you eventually succeed, you will inspire others by what you have done. You will show them that real progress comes from discipline and quiet work. Success does not need to shout. It grows in the quiet moments when no one is watching. Guard your dreams, stay focused, and let your actions be your voice. That is the path to true success. Moving in silence is not just about the work you do, it is also about the person you are becoming while you do it. When you decide to stop telling everyone your next move, you start to find a different kind of strength. It is the strength of knowing that your value does not come from the likes, the nods, or the good jobs from people who aren't even helping you build. It comes from the satisfaction of a hard day's work and the knowledge that you are actually getting closer to where you want to be. This is a very deep and personal kind of growth. It is about building a foundation that is solid because it was built on real effort, not on empty promises or big talk. Think about the mental space you gain when you aren't constantly checking to see how people reacted to your plans. You gain back so much time and focus. You are no longer performing for an audience. You are working for your future self. That shift in perspective changes everything. You start to notice details you missed before. You become more patient with the process because you aren't in a rush to prove anything to anyone else. You understand that true greatness takes time, and you are willing to give it that time because you are no longer trying to meet someone else's timeline. You are on your own clock now. This quiet path also helps you build a thick skin. When you aren't seeking external validation, external criticism starts to lose its power over you too. You realize that most people's opinions are just noise, and you don't have to let that noise into your house. You become the gatekeeper of your own mind. You decide what thoughts get to stay and what thoughts have to go. This level of self-control is what separates those who dream from those who actually achieve. It is a quiet confidence that doesn't need to be loud to be felt. It is the kind of power that people notice even if they can't quite put their finger on what is different about you. As you continue on this journey, you will find that the right people eventually find their way to you. You won't have to shout to get their attention. Your work, your character, and your results will act like a magnet. These are the people you want in your circle. The ones who respect the grind and understand the value of a quiet hustle. They won't ask you for a million details because they are busy doing their own work. They will simply see what you are doing and offer a nod of respect. That is the kind of community that helps you go even further. So keep going. Keep working when no one is watching. Keep your head down and your heart focused. The world will try to pull you into the noise, but you have the power to stay in the silence. You have the power to let your success make all the noise it needs to when the time is right. Until then, stay steady, stay quiet, and stay hungry. Your future self will thank you for the work you did in the shadows. True success isn't found in the spotlight. It is forged in the quiet, and it is a path that only a few are brave enough to walk. This path of staying quiet also teaches you how to handle the weight of your own power. When you stop looking for others to cheer you on, you learn how to be your own biggest support. You realize that the only person you truly need to answer to is yourself. This creates a deep level of self-respect that no one can take away from you. You start to wake up with a clear mind and a sharp focus because you aren't carrying the expectations of the world on your shoulders. You are simply showing up for the work, and that is a very peaceful way to live. It takes away the anxiety of wondering if people think you are moving fast enough or if they think your ideas are smart enough. None of that matters when you are the only one who knows the plan. There is also a special kind of pride that comes from finishing something that no one knew you were even working on. It gives you a secret source of strength. While others are busy trying to look successful, you are busy actually being successful. You understand that the flashy stuff, the big announcements and the constant updates, is often just a cover for a lack of real progress. By staying in the shadows, you avoid the trap of living for appearances. You are building something with real roots. Something that won't blow away when the first wind of trouble hits. You are becoming a person of substance, someone who can be trusted with big things because you have proven you can handle the small things in private. As you move closer to your goal, the silence becomes your best friend. It gives you the clarity to make tough choices and the grit to keep going when things get hard. You don't have to explain your setbacks to anyone. And you don't have to justify your wins. You just keep moving. This is the ultimate freedom. It is the freedom to change your mind, to pivot your strategy, and to grow in whatever direction feels right to you. You are the captain of your own ship, and you don't need a crew of spectators to tell you how to sail. You just follow the stars and trust the work you've put in. In the end, you will look back and see that the quietest times were the ones where you grew the most. Those were the times when your character was tested and your skills were sharpened. You will realize that the noise of the world was just a distraction and that the real magic happened in the silence. You will see that by protecting your plans, you were actually protecting your future. And when you finally stand at the top of the mountain you've been climbing, you won't need to shout to let people know you've arrived. The view will speak for itself, and your journey will be a story that inspires others to find their own quiet strength. When you choose to keep your head down, you also learn the value of patience. In a world that wants everything to happen instantly, working in silence reminds you that the best things take time to grow. You stop rushing to show off a half-finished product just to get a few likes or a little bit of attention. Instead, you wait until the work is truly ready. You understand that a tree with deep roots doesn't need to hurry to reach the sun. It grows at its own pace, and that is exactly what you are doing. This patience gives you a sense of calm that most people never find. You aren't worried about the competition or what someone else is posting online because you are too busy winning your own race. Working this way also helps you stay humble. When you don't spend your time bragging about what you are going to do, you stay grounded in the reality of the work. You don't let a little bit of praise go to your head because you haven't invited that praise in yet. You keep your eyes on the ground and your hands on the tools. This humility makes you a better student of your craft. You are more willing to learn, more open to fixing your own mistakes, and more focused on getting better every single day. You realize that the moment you think you've made it is the moment you stop growing, so you keep that beginner's mind alive in the quiet. There is also a deep sense of integrity that comes from this lifestyle. Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. By working on your goals in private, you are practicing integrity every day. You aren't doing it for the cameras or for the applause. You are doing it because it matters to you. This builds a core of steel inside your character. You become a person who does what they say they will do, even if the only person they said it to was themselves. That kind of self-trust is the highest form of success. It means you can rely on yourself when things get tough, and you don't need to look outside for a reason to keep pushing forward. As you get closer to the finish line, you will notice that you don't even feel the need to tell people anymore. The desire for attention starts to fade away because the work itself has become the reward. You find that you are more satisfied by a job well done than by 100 people telling you that you did a good job. This is when you know you have truly mastered the art of moving in silence. You have reached a place where your internal world is louder and more important than the external world. You are finally free from the need for validation, and that is where your real life begins. This way of living also makes you much more resilient when things go wrong. In the quiet, a failure is just a lesson. It is not a public embarrassment that you have to explain away to your friends, family, or followers. You can take that failure, look at it closely, learn exactly what went wrong, and try again the very next morning without anyone knowing you ever slipped up. This private space to fail is a luxury that people who talk too much never have. It allows you to be brave and take risks because the only person you are answering to is the person in the mirror. You become someone who isn't afraid of the dark times because you have learned how to find your own light in the silence. As you spend more time in this state of focus, you will find that your intuition becomes much sharper. You start to hear your own inner voice more clearly because you have turned down the volume of the world. You begin to notice opportunities that others miss because they are too busy talking. You start to see the path ahead with a clarity that only comes from deep, uninterrupted thought. This mental clarity is like a superpower. It allows you to make decisions with speed and certainty. You stop asking everyone else for their opinion on what you should do next because you already know the answer. You have done the work, you have put in the hours, and you trust the person you have become. There is also a beautiful sense of peace that settles over your life when you stop trying to manage how everyone else sees you. You stop carrying the heavy burden of being the person who is going to be successful, and you just become a person who is doing the work. This takes the ego out of the equation. When the ego is gone, you are free to be your true self. You can be honest about your progress, honest about your struggles, and honest about your goals. You no longer have to pretend to be further along than you are, which actually helps you move faster. You are moving with a light heart and a clear purpose, and there is no greater feeling than that. The final part of this journey is the realization that the silence wasn't just a way to get to your goal. It was the goal itself. The quiet strength, the self-trust, and the inner peace you built along the way are more valuable than any trophy or any amount of money. You have learned how to be happy and satisfied from the inside out. You have built a life that is rich in substance and low in noise. And when the world eventually sees what you have done, they won't just see a success story. They will see a person who is unshakable, someone who is grounded in reality and fueled by a fire that nothing can put out. You have become a master of your own fate, and you did it all without saying a single word.